Welcome, Mr. Davis, ambassadors, other honored guests, faculty, graduating students, your family and friends, to our annual graduation ceremony for Webster University in the Netherlands. Today is a farewell to many students. We recognize this achievement as a successful completion of our work. This graduation or commencement ceremony represents the beginning of another stage in life, a journey towards higher levels of personal growth and career success, as well as contribution to our global society. The world needs your contribution in developing countries, in America, in the Netherlands, all places where your knowledge, leadership, and organizational skills can make a significant difference. After all, you are ambitious people who hold university degrees and high expectations from life. Webster University is very, very proud of you. In many cases, you have combined busy careers, growing families, and very active social lives together with your education. This is special. In other cases, we have been the foreign university experience for students wishing to expand their horizons and experience. We are proud to be the institution that allowed you to do the kind of study you may not otherwise have been able to complete. Today, we will recognize the achievement of each and every one of you. We have asked some of our staff members to assist us in the reading out of the names of the candidates for Bachelor of Arts degrees. Our terrific undergraduate academic advisors, Fleur Ferrart and Connie Vivret.
Thank you, Len. I would now like to introduce today's first graduate. Judith Akebe. Judith, from Cameroon, is graduating with a major in international relations, a certificate in international human rights, and a minor in psychology. As the recipient of the Refugee Scholarship Award, Judith worked very hard to make the most of her studies and to make the Netherlands and Webster her second home. Earlier this year, Judith got a great evaluation for her research internship at the Netherlands Institute of Human Rights. Congratulations, Judith. Best wishes for the future. Asma Ali. Asma finished high school in the Netherlands and went on to study computer science in her home country of Pakistan. She transferred to Webster, where she majored in business administration with a minor in computer applications. She also took several arts-related courses, which revealed her great artistic talents, both with paint and on a computer. Today, she is graduating with departmental honors in business. Asma, Aapko Bahot Bahot Mubarako. Congratulations. Fernanda Baus. Fernanda, from Brazil, graduated in the fall with departmental honors in psychology. Fernanda was one of several students who did a wonderful job in a research internship conducted for Webster's psychology department. Parabéns, Fernanda. Gerard Brinkers. Gerard, better known as Beer, is Dutch. He is graduating with a major in business, an emphasis in business administration, a certificate in marketing, and a minor in computer applications. Beer has been a familiar face at Webster for the past 4 years. He made the most of his studies by including a semester at Webster Geneva and an internship in Kazakhstan. Gefeliciteerd, Beer. Jimena Cervantes. Jimena, from the Netherlands and Antilles, is graduating with a major in psychology and a minor in English. Jimena has taken many creative writing courses at Webster and has a reputation as a talented writer with a great imagination. To finish up her studies, Jimena took on an internship in psychology, working with an autistic child. Congratulations, Jimena.
Carmen Pilar Sevilla Lopez. Pilar, who is Spanish, graduated cum laude in the fall with a major in international relations, in which she received departmental honors and a certificate in human rights. Last summer, she spent some much-needed time in Spain, where she completed an internship with the NGO Asociación Almeroa Alcogue, an organization that helps immigrants integrate into Spanish society. Felicitaciones, Pilar.
Patrick de Pont. Patrick, who is Belgian, is graduating with departmental honors in management. He spent half a year in France before coming to Webster for an international education. His program of studies includes an emphasis in international business, and Patrick traveled to Thailand to study at the Webster campus there for a term. Gefeliciteerd, Patrick.
Jerome Drake. Jerome, from the Netherlands, is graduating with a major in international relations. Jerome spent a term at our Thailand campus, then followed that summer working very hard at the Chicago Board of Trade. His last term, he completed an internship with Houskins and ISTA. Van harte gefeliciteerd, Jerome.
Rachel Elliott. Rachel majored in psychology and graduated in the fall with departmental honors. She is looking forward to moving back to her home state of California with her new Dutch husband to go to graduate school in psychology. Well done, Rachel. Steven Everard. Steven, from the Netherlands, is also graduating with a major in psychology. He would like to become a criminal profiler and is currently looking into graduate programs in criminology and investigative psychology in England and the Netherlands. Steven is a near-professional basketball player and gave his classmates some interesting insights in psychology on the court. Proficiat, Steven. Lindsay Frost. Lindsay, who is South African, graduated last fall with a major in management, an emphasis in marketing, and a minor in computer applications. Lindsay is one of those people for whom Webster is more than just a place to study. Not only is she getting her degree from us, she is also a much appreciated new colleague, and even her boyfriend is a Webster alum. Congratulations, Lindsay.
Hermenegildo Heisterkamp. LD, as we know him, is Dutch and is graduating with a major in international relations and a major in management with emphasis in marketing. LD recently spent a term in Thailand and is very happy to be graduating today along with his sister. Gefeliciteerd, LD.
Ningsi Heisterkamp. LD's sister Ningsi is graduating with a dual major in management and psychology. She'll be working at Huiskens & Ista, Corporate and Financial Communications, where she held a job during part of her studies. Ningsi also has very different talents. She was recently spotted Latin dancing in Amsterdam, blowing everyone off the dance floor. Van harte, Ningsi. Maja Ilic. Maja, from Yugoslavia, graduated in the fall with a major in psychology. Maja is not only graduating with departmental honors in psychology, she is also one of 2 Leiden students graduating magna cum laude. That means that she is among the 32 best achieving students of over 1,200 graduating from Webster worldwide today. Čestitam ti, Majo, sa tvojom diplomom.
Tjeerd Jansen. Tjeerd, who is Dutch, is graduating with a major in international relations. He studied for a term at our Vienna campus and is hoping to continue his education in the field of human rights studies. Van harte gefeliciteerd, Tjeerd. Osman Kerem Kaksel. Kerem, who is from Turkey, is graduating with a major in international relations. He's currently enjoying life in Paris, and when he's not out touring, he's working as an intern with the International Social Science Council of UNESCO. Tebrik ederim, Kerem.
Christoph Leutzinger-Barton. Chris, who is from the US, is graduating with a major in management and a minor in international relations. Chris is one of those students that you just have to admire for their perseverance. He had to combine his studies with a family and a full-time job at Nike and could only take 1 course per term. This meant that it took him 8 years to complete his studies. So you can imagine how happy he must be standing here today. Chris may not know it yet, but after this much time at Webster, he's bound to miss us, and we will certainly miss him. Congratulations, Chris. Maurice Lohman. Maurice, from the Netherlands, is graduating with a major in management and an emphasis in international business. In 1997, he went to the US on a high school exchange, where he met his current girlfriend, who eventually moved to the Netherlands to live with him and is also graduating today. Van harte gefeliciteerd, Maurice.
Mary Martin. Mary, who is American, is graduating with a dual major in international relations and psychology. In 1997, she started dating a Dutchman who attended her high school on an exchange program. Mary decided to move to the Netherlands to join him and is very happy to be graduating with him today. Congratulations, Mary.
Muna Mukarzel. Muna, from Ghana, is graduating with a major in management. Muna showed considerable persistence throughout her studies at Webster. She particularly enjoyed those courses that challenged her to be creative. Muna is considering entering a new field of study by pursuing a master's degree in international relations at Webster. Congratulations, Muna. Binish Razi. Binish, from Pakistan, is graduating with a BBA and a certificate in marketing. She grew up in various countries and came to us from the British school. With her international background and outgoing personality, she seemed to feel right at home at Webster. We'll be hearing from Binish later this afternoon, as she was elected by her peers to be the undergraduate speaker in this ceremony. B. Aapko Bahut Bahut Mubarak ho. Congratulations. Craig Roxbury. Craig, who is American, loves to travel. Maybe this is because he spent much of his life moving back and forth between the US and Germany. Since 2002, he has added the Netherlands to this mix, coming to Webster from the German campus of the University of Maryland. Today, Craig is graduating with a major in management and an emphasis in, not surprisingly, international business. Well done, Craig. Saad Saeed. Saad, from Pakistan, is graduating with a major in psychology and a minor in computer applications. He is a real computer buff and did a wonderful job working for Webster as the network assistant. Saad was always so friendly and helpful that it would have been hard for us to say goodbye to him. Fortunately, he will stick around to continue his job while studying in our graduate program. Saad, Aapko Bahut Bahut Mubarak ho. Great job. Desiree Starnes. Desiree, who hails from Arkansas, came to study with us 2 years ago to broaden her horizons. She likes challenges and just finished a semester of very hard work in order to meet the requirements for honors as well as for a minor in psychology, which she recently decided to add to her program of study. Desiree has a lot to be proud of today. She is graduating with a major in management, a minor in psychology, with departmental and university-wide honors. Congratulations on this achievement, Desiree. Katrina Steenvoorden. Katrina, from Canada, is graduating with a major in management, an emphasis in international business, a certificate in marketing, and a minor in computer applications. She probably would have done even more if she could. Recently, Katrina took on an internship at Valvoline, where she can use her skills in all of these areas to research the customer and commercial needs of the Austrian and German markets. Well done, Katrina. We wish you best of luck in the future. Valerie Tan. Valerie, who comes from the Vancouver area, is graduating with a major in business and an emphasis in business administration. She has done a great job of combining her studies with full-time employment at the IKEA head office here in Leiden. When she took her required arts course, Valerie surprised herself with her innovative and creative talents. Congratulations, Valerie. Chris Umole. Chris, from Nigeria, is graduating with a major in management. He is continuing a family tradition here at Webster. A few years ago, his older brother preceded him on this stage. Chris impressed us all when he ran 21K in the Leiden Marathon last year. We'll miss your great smile, Chris. Congratulations.
Alexander van der Waals. Alex, from the Netherlands, is graduating with a major in international relations with departmental honors and a major in management with an emphasis in international business and a minor in psychology. He just recently returned from a trip abroad in Vienna. Gefeliciteerd, Alex.
Carolina van Maasdijk. Carolina, who is Ecuadorian and Dutch, completed a major in management, an emphasis in marketing, and a minor in art history. She is graduating with departmental honors in management. Carolina not only excelled in her classes, she also acquired some exciting practical experience. She did an internship at the Frans Hals Museum in Haarlem and was one of the organizers of the prestigious Veerstichting Symposium last year. Felicitaciones, Carolina. And our last graduate in the undergraduate program today is Osman Zarkani. Osman is graduating with a major in management and an emphasis in international business. He took the opportunity of studying abroad at Webster's Thailand campus to see a different part of the world and escape the cold Dutch winter. His next endeavor will be a traineeship in aviation services in his home country of Egypt. Eventually, he hopes to work in IT, applying what he learned in a series of digital design courses he took here. Osman has become a very familiar face of Webster, and we're sad to see him leave. Elf mevroek, je Ozzy.
Thank you, Fleur and Connie. Will all the candidates for the bachelor degree please rise? By the power vested in me by the state of Missouri, USA, the Board of Directors, the administration, and faculty of Webster University, I confer upon each of you the degree of Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Business Administration with all the rights and privileges of that degree. Swing your tassel to the right. Congratulations. I'd like to now introduce to you, for our musical entertainment, our instructor and friend, Claire Proctor, and the Harlem Golden Tones Steel Band. It is my great honor to now introduce this year's commencement speaker. He has degrees from the London School of Economics, Cornell University in the USA, and Cambridge University. He has worked with food security, medical, and nutritional issues around the world, including such countries as Liberia, Guinea, Sudan, Brazil, Bosnia, Djibouti, and many more. He has been General Director of Médecins Sans Frontières, Holland, since 1999, the Dutch center being one of 5 key operational centers around the world. Webster University is very proud to have the director of this important Nobel Prize-winning organization as our speaker today. Please join me in welcoming a true innovator for humanitarian aid in action, Mr. Austin Davis.
Thank you very much. I'm not used to such an introduction. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to first start by saying it's a great honor for me to be asked to come and address you here today, particularly at this moment in your time, as you've waiting to get certification for all of those years, some of you 8 years, I understand, of trying to struggle to learn, to understand, to grow, to work together, nurture your curiosities. And so it's a great moment for you, and a really very proud moment for me to be asked to come and say almost exactly what I want to you. It's also a bit daunting. I don't know if you can imagine standing here in this very historic building with that lectern over there, imagining what it would have been like to be one of the Puritan fathers calling the people together. What would they have said to all of those people before they got on the Mayflower with their dour puritanical imagination of how to construct a new life with better freedoms, with better possibilities, both in their own lives but also in their society. And that's one of the historical references I'd like to come back to in what I'll say to you today, because I think that is still the great tide of history, maybe not for most of the people in this room, but certainly the great push for history is the majority of humanity still seeking greater freedom, greater dignity, greater respect, greater opportunity. The second reason it's very daunting is that I work for an NGO or a charity or a PVO, whatever you might like to call it, and we're often termed the new missionaries, calling on you to respect morality, to become better people. I hope to avoid that characterization. I don't like the characterization that we're missionaries, and I certainly realize that you lot don't lead another lecture, and you're trying to get away from that now. And it's also daunting for me because, frankly, I often get called to speak to the already converted, like maybe some preachers are, or the enemy, but I very rarely get to come and speak to an interested but tangentially connected group of people. And so my challenge is maybe not to tell you what is the truth and what is the light and what is the path that you must follow, but I've been asked to tell you a little bit about myself, a little bit about Médecins Sans Frontières, and to try and challenge you. So I'm going to try and tell you a story that I hope will be challenging not just to those of you who want to work for an NGO, but for all of you. I normally show pictures because I think in my line of work, sometimes the pictures actually say a greater truth with greater simplicity than words possibly can, and also it's quite nice to look at something if you get bored while I'm talking. But that wasn't possible today. Before I can say something about that story, me, MSF, challenge you, I needed to know a little bit about you, so I looked a little bit in your brochures, and I have to assume something about all of you. Your program promotes a liberal arts curriculum and business administration. I saw you have a prize to inspire young students to see today's world in the context of history, cooperation, human rights, and international law. I think the very nature, the project of your university embodies some goals and values which may be explicit or maybe less explicit, maybe more implicit, but I was reading into them a pursuit of knowledge, value for freedom, enlightenment, exchange, cooperation, rule of law, dignity, business, and a certain value for international cosmopolitanism. And Holland is often revered as the birthplace of these very modern values. And so another germane reason to be here today in Leiden or Amsterdam or wherever that birthplace is. But I think it's and I hope you studied some of the birth of these sets of values. And I think, again, a historical metaphor. It's worrying that some of these values are again under attack today. So as international students, I'm assuming a little bit about you. I'm assuming that you're all advocates of an international cosmopolitan life, and that you're interested in international society, world affairs, and to somewhat shared responsibilities. So something about you, something about me. I'm 37 years old. I'm half English and I'm half Dutch, although I was totally brought up and educated in the UK. I was privileged to have a reverse experience from you. I managed to get a scholarship to go and study in the United States, a program that was set up in the aftermath of war, after the terrible fate of war, to try and promote some kind of hope, to promote an intercultural exchange, to try and promote different people coming from all over the world to swap experiences and ideas as they learnt, and which is very much one of my personal motivations to accept to come and talk to you today. A third kind of historical metaphor, the person who set up that scholarship, Senator Fulbright, was leader of the Senate commission that questioned Lyndon Johnson on the transparency of the Vietnam War, and is often seen as the crucial mark or turning point in the public discussion about the policies in Vietnam. And I think all of us have been watching with bated breath the Senate commissions going on today in America as they question Donald Rumsfeld on the respect for Geneva Conventions and the rules of war in Iraq. So I see this kind of multicultural and international student exchange as something full of hope, something to try and build a better world. I studied nutrition at Cornell, as was already said, and after that I've spent virtually my entire mature, I would say at least, professional life working for Médecins Sans Frontières. And I began as a young nutritionist working in Liberia, where most of the aid agencies were running very large food programs, giving out food to the people with the cards, with the registration cards. Some of you may know about how they give out food. People that really needed it were small groups of people, maybe a few hundred people, recently displaced out of their villages and hiding in the bush, often in the jungle. And it's not that big a country, but I tell you, trying to find small groups of people hiding in the jungle, terribly frightened, very malnourished, very much in need of care and protection, was quite a job. And then trying to push these big aid bureaucracies to actually divert their aid flows towards these people was also a big job, and quite a passionate job for a young man just out of university in your kind of position. And then I went to Mozambique, a long, thin country, just at the end of the war, and over 1 million refugees tumbled back into Mozambique, into desperately poor rural areas. And again, we were out there trying to provide nutrition and health services to these people. But we also were amongst them. We also heard their truth. We also collected information. And you could come back into the suited United Nations and diplomat office meetings in Maputo, shaking your field data, your field truth. And again, heady stuff. And I then came to Amsterdam headquarters to work. And I worked in various missions in Angola, Ethiopia, Bosnia, whatever. More in Liberia, more in Ethiopia. And then I ended up as head of mission running legal and illegal operations into South Sudan. And I'll explain a little bit more in the story. I'm going to tell you why I want to reflect on the legal and illegal. So we were legally working under the United Nations framework called Operation Lifeline Sudan, working in rebel-held South Sudan, running programs there. And the UN used to admonish us because we were also running illegal programs. The government of Sudan at that time would often blacklist various locations in the south, saying you can't go and work there, even though the areas were not under their control. And so this the notion of sovereignty and whether you could or could not access people seemed ridiculous. And we would run illegal programs. So we were often told that this was jeopardizing the entire aid program, and could we please stop that? We felt it was more important to try and get to these people, so we then left the UN program, and then we were accused of undermining the whole aid effort because we were leaving the program. So quite a strange debate, and if you ever get into international aid, I think you'll find it's quite a strange world. And for the last 5 years, I've been serving as General Director for MSF in Holland, We have terms. We're supposed to roll over our directors, so I'm supposed to leave somewhere this year. So if any of you are looking for jobs now that you're graduating, mine's free in a couple of months. So let me tell you a little bit less about me and a bit more about MSF, which is the story that I wanted to share with you. It goes back a little further to the 18th, 19th century, huge wars in Europe, and generals started drawing up contracts about how to exchange the wounded. Not all generals, but some generals. There was a gentleman called Henry Dunant, who was a Swiss businessman traveling in Italy, and he came across a battlefield, Solferino, where thousands and thousands of troops were crawling around in the aftermath of the battle near death, and starved, half-crazed local peasants who had been looted of everything they had by the armies were running around looting the dead bodies, trying somehow to survive in the aftermath of this battle. And soldiers were helping each other, not depending on their uniform. They were trying to give each other a glass of water just to relieve themselves in death. And he realized that war was an affair of state. It was a political act that had nothing to do on the relations between men, and that those men may well be friends, and that whilst a soldier in uniform is a legitimate target, a man out of uniform, a civilian, a woman or a child, is not a proper target, and that this needed to be codified, that normal people needed to be protected in times of war. There's an old saying, all is fair in love and war. They haven't tried to civilize love yet, but this was an attempt to try and civilize war, to realize that war had to be fought with an idea of what might happen after war. You can only end a war peacefully and justly if you manage to create some kind of just peace afterwards. And so it's very important, even in times of war, to remember the conduct of it. And that rested almost solely on respecting the dignity of the individual, on understanding that human beings have some inherent value. So he was quite clever. He managed to pull together 12 states who signed the very first draft of the Geneva Conventions at the end of the 19th century, and he also established an agency, the Red Cross, the ICRC, which was going to prepare in times of peace for times of crisis. The Red Cross mobilized huge numbers of aid workers, particularly medical people, in the First World War. More Americans served in the Red Cross in the First World War than actually fought in the First World War. But by the middle of the 20th century, the Red Cross had lost much of its capacity to mobilize medical workers, because many of the armies of the West had their own medical services. So when there was a new series of wars, the wars of decolonization, there was a whole new set of needs and not many agencies ready to prepare for them. This is where the story of MSF starts. In the late 60s, there was a massive student radicalization in Europe. And there were huge strikes. Here in Holland, the squatters movement, radical students, but in France almost came to a standstill with the strikes in '68. And many of the radicalized students of that time felt that the rhetoric was armchair rhetoric. And you sit in a chair and you talk lofty ideals, but you had to go out into the world somehow and make your mark. You had to act. And so many of these young doctors volunteered to go off with the Red Cross to work in the cause célèbre of that time, which was the Biafran War. And first of all, they saw that aid was possible. There were a number of agencies organizing assistance, penetrating right into the heart of the war. But the second thing they saw was vast concentration camps of people starving to death in these concentration camps, and they were not allowed to talk about it. And they were the generation who had been told after the Second World War that this would never happen again. And they saw it happening. And they realized as doctors that bandages was never going to stop a genocide, that medical assistance was never going to fundamentally challenge this problem. And they felt that you had to speak out, because recognizing it, speaking out in the public domain was not necessarily going to end this crime, but not speaking about it left those who were committing this crime to absolute impunity. They could do whatever they liked. And that was a radical reinterpretation of the notion of neutrality that the ICRC held. And so MSF was a real break from the ICRC tradition. And it was formed in 1971 in Paris between these radical doctors and some journalists who felt the need to bear witness, not to make judgment on the rights and wrongs, on the causes of war, but to bear witness as the process of war. So what do? They felt there was a need to get more medical assistance into the crisis zone, to stand next to people, and they also felt it was necessary to bear witness to what they saw. And this was very much a Cold War ideology. They were in a time when sovereignty was the predominant organizing philosophy. And so they called themselves Médecins Sans Frontières, the idea without borders. And that was because they felt that these borders somehow delimited political responsibility. And when human beings are suffering to this extent, they didn't feel it was possible that other human beings should absolve themselves of the responsibility to ask simple questions. And so they wanted to challenge the notion of borders. They wanted to challenge the notion of state borders. But they also wanted to challenge the notion of borders between the them and us that we create in our minds. And they wanted to challenge the borders within themselves to be brave enough to stand up and ask simple questions, which are often answered for us by complex answers that seem to make sense, but still don't really honestly answer some of the simple truths that we see. So we want to demand access to victims, stand with them, give them assistance in proximity, and we want to bear witness to the tragedies and the political failures, and because we think that that is our only contribution to resolving this suffering. MSF at the time was seen as, often known as the hippie doctors, often called cowboys when I joined. There was a strong idea, because the project wasn't going to really do much, the notion of voluntarism and political symbolism, the symbolism of sending these people in. And they didn't spend much time on the professional capacity to actually help people. So there's a lot of symbolic action, sending the volunteers in on the donkey, without much idea of whether you could really help people. And this came to a head because they started working in the Lebanon, and they showed you could run a hospital in Beirut with volunteers. They started working in Afghanistan. The ICRC wasn't allowed in by the Russians at the time. So MSF doctors started to grow beards, get a suntan, put on some cloth, and go on donkeys up into the mountains. And the Russians tried to bomb these convoys. They started working in Sudan. They started working in Angola, and becoming aware of the conflict between the right and the left, the proxy wars of the Cold War. And that was their university of life, their drama, which taught them what they needed to do. And so there was a huge debate in the organization on the balance between voluntarism and this political symbolism and the need to actually have the power to do something useful, that you couldn't just go into a crisis zone and stand next to a victim and not have anything real to offer him. And so they invented medical departments, logistics departments, and MSF started to grow. You went from MSF France to MSF Belgium in 1980, and then MSF Holland, Spain, Switzerland. And now we have 18 sections. And part of the richness, I think, is having these different national associations, all who are very loosely bound and criticize each other, and we fight each other more than we fight the others, to try and stay true and authentic to that sense of mission. Because as you grow as an organization, and you need to organize to have power, you find that your institutional interests come, and there's more and more reason not to speak out because you might threaten your funding base. More and more reason not to rock the boat. How do you stay brave? How as an organization do you stay brave and committed to what you are really there to do? And that's something that I'll return to later. But they began to make their mark. They started to ask these simple questions. So while everyone responded to the famine in Ethiopia in 1984, and the first big political crisis I can remember in my life, the famine in 84, most people regarded it as a natural disaster. The rain stops, the food stops, you have a biblical drought, a biblical famine. And the problem with such an analysis is it decontextualizes a crisis. It depoliticizes it. It says nothing about the relationships between the poor, the middle class, the rich. It says nothing about the mid-ranking civil servant. It says nothing about political leadership. It says nothing about the international representation. It says it recognizes the victim, but it says nothing about the victimizer. Mengistu at that time was fighting a war. He had the largest standing army in Africa, and he was fighting a war against rebels. the Maoist saying that rebels are the fish that swim in the sea. He wanted to drain the sea. He decided to move all the peasants from the Tigranian highlands into the lowlands against their will. MSF spoke out against this relocation and was thrown out of Ethiopia. There was a massive famine in Cambodia, and the Cambodian government called for huge assistance. All the agencies started trying to give assistance, but the Cambodians said, no, you can't come in, you just give us the aid. MSF said, no way. What's wrong with a few doctors going in to help all these sick people you keep talking about? You let us in or we won't give you anything. It was the only agency that refused to give assistance to the Cambodian government, who claimed a famine, which was never proven. It may or may not have happened. But certainly, how do you know that your assistance goes to those who most truly need it? As I said, they went into Afghanistan. They tried to offer assistance in the hills, and the Russians bombed. So it was quite a radical message in the early days, smashing down barriers to get access, demanding answers to simple questions. Why can we not go in and stand next to sick people and help them? Why is there a political reason to deny us access? We were the first NGO to intervene in North Korea in 1995. By 1998, we were the first NGO to leave North Korea, saying that humanitarian assistance is not possible under these conditions. The regime is so much in control of the aid flow that the aid is not getting to the starving. And we were aware of numerous places where starving North Koreans were used to unload food aid into warehouses, move the food to military warehouses, move them back when the donors were coming, line up, be seen as starving, move the food back to the military warehouses later, and never actually be given any of that food. And when you hear from refugees in other places that people are resorting to cannibalism, and when people are used as slave labor, starving and unable to get any of the food aid, you have to ask yourself a question about the very nature of that assistance. And so we left North Korea and spoke out against it. We were in the camps of Goma. We stayed in Rwanda with the ICRC, the only agencies. And then we were in the camps of Goma. In the camps of Goma, 3 times the amount of food was going into those camps that was needed for the people. And yet we had starving children in our feeding centers. No one was allowed to do a census. No one was allowed to actually get down and deliver the assistance. And the Rwandan government was claiming that the Interahamwe were rebuilding their military structures. And so we called for an intervention to separate out the militants from the normal refugees. That never happened. We left Goma saying that humanitarian aid in this sense, without political responsibility for the political consequences, was negative for the people concerned. And those camps were attacked and the people were driven into the jungles in DRC and slaughtered in thousands. So I guess my essential message to you, 15 years ago MSF was looked at, oh, they're all angels. Now there's a good degree of cynicism about aid. Well, my essential message to you is that aid is neither good nor bad. It depends on the particular. It depends on the contextual. Aid can be impersonal, it can be bureaucratic, it can be uncaring, it can be unthinking, in which case it may do some good, but it can also be instrumentalized against the very people that it's supposed to hurt. So whilst it's supposed to be emancipatory and assisting, it can also contribute to degradation and oppression of people. And it takes a certain commitment, it takes a fight to try and keep that assistance to be emancipatory and to ask simple questions. In the 90s, humanitarian assistance suddenly became popular. And we saw the end of the Cold War, and it was going to be the new world order. Humanitarian action, all the UN agencies started growing humanitarian agencies. Many of the development agencies started doing relief work. But looking back, you've seen a tremendous co-optation, and humanitarian assistance has had its radical and civil element taken out of it. It has become bureaucratized and coordinated and more controlled. And now I think one of the great questions that people are asking is the relationship between humanitarian assistance and the military. So I'm not really trying to ask you, trying to divide you into the business students who are going to go out and earn lots of money and look after yourselves, and the sandal wearers who are going to wear flowery shirts and work for NGOs. Naive but good, so that you can put your morality away and say, I'm good and I can sleep well at night. I assure you, if you work for an NGO, you can't just put your morality in a drawer and assume you're going to be allowed into the pearly gates. And in the same sense, I don't think as a business person you can just not ask questions of yourself about what's going on in the countries that you're working in and what is the significance of your actions. I'm not going to ask you to join NGOs. I don't think NGOs are necessarily the answer. They do projects. Projects can't be the answer, but they can be part of a civil response to a problem. I'm not going to ask you to give 10% of your earnings to NGOs. All of these things you can do if you choose, but what I was trying to do was reflect on this kind of historical drama, how humanitarian assistance and these institutions have had to change over the decades from 70s, 80s, 90s, how they've had to reflect the external world and the needs of people. Samantha Powers, in a recent book, reflected how the 20th century was the century of genocide and asked questions about how could it be that governments and the UN have been so slow to respond to genocide. And she's talked about how bureaucracy is extremely good at doing the same thing day after day and very, very bad at reacting to extraordinary challenge. And so one of the things I've certainly learned about is how difficult it is to react to extraordinary challenge. And something I just wanted to share with you. Another thing I wanted to share was about how difficult it is to organize, as I talked before, and at the same time remain radical and authentic to your sense of mission. Because organization by its nature creates a whole other set of interests which divert you from your fundamental objectives. How cooperation is always seen as a good thing, and how very few people ask questions about the amount of time that cooperation takes, how it befuddles, how it hides objectives, how it costs, and how, in order to make cooperation successful, you have to break through the cooperative bonds if it denies your fundamental purpose. And how to work in difficult foreign environments where you don't necessarily know everything about the culture that you're in, and you don't necessarily know what is the truth of those people and where you are. And I wanted to ask you about the great issues. I wanted to challenge you to think about the great issues which I think remain the great issues of our time. The political use of violence against people. Surely one of the great issues facing humanity in the last century, and I think set to be the great issues facing humanity this century. How society is one of the fundamental characteristics of human beings. We create complex societies that have enormous power and offer us prosperity, offer us freedom, offer us a number of great things, but also have the power to do tremendous harm, tremendous violence. And they also define who is part of that society and then who is outside of the society, who lives on the borderland. A refugee is stateless. You can only be stateless if there is a state. So there are people in and there are people out, and a vast proportion of humanity lives on the borderlands, lives outside, lives broken, quite empty lives. Political violence, inequity, and thirdly, I would like to call attention to the HIV/AIDS pandemic, which has such fundamental proportions way beyond being just another disease, as it takes away the productive members of our societies, but particularly other people's societies, and renders the dependents alone without either the skills to grow into and the tradition and responsibilities to take on. So great challenges ahead for mankind. Great causes which I think almost certainly go to prove that Francis Fukuyama was wrong when he said it's the end of history. Don't lose your ambition. Don't assume that we are at the end of history. And now we are entering 2004 with the war on terror. I think the World War I and World War II were dreadful events, but what they did do is they incorporated everyone. Everyone in Europe was involved. People were sent away as fighters. And somehow that experience was brought back it was a tremendously democratizing event. It was a tremendous push for people of all classes to come back to their own countries and claim ownership. The problem with the war on terror, it's so secret. It's a hidden war. It doesn't involve most of us. It involves fear. We sit at home and we're frightened. People talk about being frightened to come to Queen's Day in Amsterdam because there are rumors of bombs. People are frightened to go to London because there may be bombs. It's a war of fear which tends to disempower us because we have no role in it. And it tends to separate us. It creates, once again, a them and us. Yeats, an English poet in the First World War, wrote, "Things fall apart, the center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world, the blood-dimmed tide is loosed in everywhere, the ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity." What I want to argue for is that everywhere there are human beings, they all cry, they all hurt, they all love, they all laugh, they feel joy, they feel hunger. And we need to have a common sense of humanity and a common value for human dignity, that whatever our social and political differences, at least that remains. I'd advise you to plunge into the great forces of history. I'd advise you to get involved in a drama. I'd advise you to work hard, not because you're seeking the words of praise of others or a grand career, but because you love it, it excites you, it turns you on, and it's going to stimulate you to be so much better at your work than you ever will if you do it for other reasons. And the second thing I would advise you for is never allow complexity to allow you the luxury to sit back and get involved in complex theories which allow you to put off action. People hurt, people cry today, and you need to act. And you do not have the luxury of always being overly complex. You have to think, but you have to act as well. So, very good luck as you go out of this university. And I hope that you can be good, but also filled with passionate intensity. Thank you.
Thank you, Austin. I've asked Mrs. Julie van der Wolf, organizer of today's graduation ceremony, to hand you this gift to remind you of this day in the Peterskerk. Thank you. It's also Julie's birthday, and she's the organizer of today's graduation ceremony. It is now time for the graduate students. This impressive group collectively represents the future leadership of many organizations around the world. Deze groep van indrukwekkende mensen wil ik nu de eer geven om één voor één naar voren te komen. Dr. Jacques Kaat, Webster's academic director, and Mr. Eric Crawford, the graduate academic advisor, will read out the names.
Alex Ashu.
Alex from Cameroon is completing his MBA. Alex says that the Webster experience demonstrates the ability of a rose to grow out of concrete. Today, Alex would like to use this opportunity to thank everyone who watered that rose. Nto ni ton, Alex.
Ruud Banders.
Ruud is receiving his MBA today. Ruud would like to acknowledge the diversity of teachers and students he worked with for making the program enjoyable. The combination of learning and enjoying has been the key to both his career and personal development. Gefeliciteerd, Ruud.
Liesel Berry.
Liesel from South Africa has earned her second degree from Webster, this her MA in management. Liesel affirms Galileo's words, "You cannot teach a woman anything, you can only help her find it within herself." Liesel would like to thank Dave, Stella, Frans, her shareholders, and her teachers for helping her to find at least a part of it in herself. Veel geluk, Liesel.
Anumuti Bigu. Oh, Prakash. Oh.
It's Prakash.
Prakash Bigu.
Prakash from Mauritius feels that his MBA is a culmination of 2.5 years of hard work, dedication, and sustained effort. A dream come true, and a truly life-enriching experience about business, people, and the power of networking. Prakash would like to thank his wife, friends, and relatives who are here today celebrating this momentous occasion with him. Félicitations, Prakash. Anumuti Bigu.
Anu, also from Mauritius, is graduating with an MBA with an emphasis in international business. Anu says this is a great achievement that will help her open her own business someday. Anu would like to thank her husband Prakash, who has supported her and put up with all of her study-related moods. Warm thank yous for her friends and her family who are here today to celebrate this event, and special thoughts for those who are not with her today. Felicitations, Anu.
Yuvraj Badwai.
Yuvraj, originally from India, is earning his second degree from Webster University. This, his MBA with an emphasis in finance. In addition to academic pursuits, Yuvraj has been working for Ericsson Telecommunications for the last 2 years. Continued success, and Mubarak ho, Yuvraj.
Shamil Bilbao.
Shamil compares the beginning of his MBA study to the Chinese saying, "A journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step." Shamil encountered that long, harsh journey. Shamil says this graduation as crossing the finish line or reaching the summit. He says the long and hard climb to the top was the most valuable part. Van harte, Shamil.
Nicole Boot Hansen.
Nicole has completed her MBA. Nicole states that what she liked most about Webster was the flexibility of the program. Nicole started the program with us in Leiden, then had a baby, and then continued to take courses online. That was a perfect fit for Nicole and her new life. Nicole gives Webster University an A+ for this flexibility. Gefeliciteerd, Nicole, and much success.
Paula Carvalho.
Paula, from Portugal, received her MBA. Paula shares that education makes people easy to lead, but difficult to drive, easy to govern, but impossible to enslave. Go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Live the life you have imagined. Parabéns, Paula. Maria Chobrakczynska.
Maria, who comes from us from Slovakia, was inspired by this George Bernard Shaw quote: "The people who get on in this world are the people who get up and look for the circumstances they want, and if they can't find them, they make them." Maria congratulates her fellow students and thanks to the IR faculty for their support. Blahozelama, Maria.
Catherine Costello. Kathleen, excuse me.
Kathleen, who is graduating with her MA in International Relations, would like to dedicate this moment to what the Greeks wrote so many years ago: to tame the savageness of man and make gentle the life of this world. And she adds, some see things as they are and say, why? I dream things that never were and say, why not? Kathleen would like to thank her friends and her mum and sister for encouraging her throughout her studies. Congratulations, Kathleen.
Elias Krum.
We are congratulating Elias today for his MBA degree. Elias enjoyed the atmosphere and the learning experience at Webster. When not studying, Elias is head of sales at Access for All Internet in Amsterdam. He is also looking forward to his new baby, expected to arrive in a few months. Gefeliciteerd, Elias.
Barbara de Rijka.
Barbara is receiving her MBA degree today. Barbara says that without the support at home, it would not have been possible to get the degree. Barbara feels that she has developed personally and has made new friends, and she hopes to see new friends that she hopes to see in the future to help her alleviate the withdrawal symptoms of spending so much time on her studies. Proficiat, Barbara. Elsje de Vries.
Elsje, receiving her MA in Management, says that Webster University has given education a new angle. In addition to the course content, she learned that the right mentality and attitude is as important. She appreciated the experienced professors and fellow students who shared their cross-cultural and professional backgrounds. Webster has not only been an educational experience, but a life experience as well. Van harte, Elsje.
Ryan Deer.
Ryan, who is receiving his MA in Management today, says that living in another country was an experience he will never forget. The ride was not always smooth, but along the way he met people that helped. Webster and the people he met were just a small part of this experience. Quoting Professor Joop Brooks, small things can make the biggest differences. Ryan wishes to thank his family, his Dutch family, and his friends. Congratulations, Ryan, and much success.
Stacy Dinsen.
Stacy, completing her MA in International Relations, leaves this moment to Thoreau, who said, "If someone advances confidently in the directions of his dreams and endeavors to live the life which he has imagined, he will meet with a success unexpected in common hours." Well said, and congratulations, Stacy.
Olaf Distelveld.
Olaf is receiving his MBA with an emphasis in international business. Olaf sees this not only as a valuable piece of paper, but a milestone in his educational and professional career. Olaf, who spent the last 5 months at the Webster campus in San Diego, California, feels this has made his degree even more valuable, as these are moments in life that will always be with him. Gefeliciteerd, Olaf. Frits Dausma.
Graduating with his MA in International Business, Frits proclaims that he will be leaving all of his books in the bookcase for a couple of years. Maybe then, and only then, will he be missing them. Van harte en veel succes, Frits.
Dolores Doyle.
Coming to us from Ireland, Dolores says that she's happy to have done her MBA. She felt it has made her time in the Netherlands more worthwhile, especially since she doesn't speak Dutch. Dolores would like to thank all those who have encouraged her over the past years. Your tolerance and your support were a comfort, a motivation to continue. Denim gogardas lat, Dolores.
Jennifer Frank.
Jennifer completed her MA in International Relations. Jennifer affirms that one must not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Many thanks to those who supported Jennifer, especially Jacob. Much success to you, Jennifer. Congratulations.
Aurora Gonzalez.
Aurora, who brought her own fan club, is from Venezuela and finished her MBA in 1 year. Aurora voices that your strength will become your guidance, your protection, and your salvation. This moment is dedicated to Aurora's healing land, i.e. the Netherlands, her late husband Manuel, watching proudly, and her two mothers, Monica and Mercedes, and friends who are here to share the moment with Aurora. Enhorabuena, Aurora. Luc Griffioen.
Luke graduated with his MBA with honors. Luke wants to share that as a 41-year-old father of 2 small children, he calls his MBA his big renovation. After 20 years of working, it was fantastic to refresh his knowledge and reset his mind. Luke had to find the right balance between his studies, his work, and his private life. Luke thanks everyone for their love and patience. Gefeliciteerd, Luke.
Henry Gucci.
Henry from Indonesia is completing his MBA today. Henry feels that an MBA degree is not easy. It requires a lot of effort, sacrifice, and support and understanding from those in your life. Despite these challenges, Henry is thankful to have done it. Selamat, Henry.
Craig Gummer.
Craig graduates with his MBA today. Craig acknowledges the contacts he gained at Webster. He knows that these friends will always be there for him. Craig states that the knowledge he gained from the group discussions was priceless. Craig thanks his family for having to endure the many lost evenings and weekends over these past 2.5 years. Congratulations, Craig.
Rainer Hoffman.
Rainer, an MBA graduate, wrote a poem for today's occasion. Thought I did it for me, but I did it for them. I learned so I could see, so I would not condemn. All the people and businesses that struggle due to ignorance, fear, and lust of power gave me the courage to be free to start my own consultancy. Herzlichen Glückwunsch, Rainer, and continued success. My pleasure. Paul Hustings.
Paul is one of our Maastricht MBA graduates. Remember well what was said to him before he started the program. You will have a lot of fun, but you will need to have a stable marriage. Now, 2.5 years later, he shares that he did have a lot of fun and that his MBA has enriched his life and broadened his professional view. Paul would like to, apart from his classmates and teachers, especially thank his wife, Monique, for her support. Gefeliciteerd, Paul.
Mark Yeskot.
Mark has completed his MBA. Mark would like to thank his family and friends, not for the last 3 years of his studies, but for the last 2 months, when they prevented him from getting let down after completing his studies. They did this by saving all his outstanding maintenance projects, such as gardening and painting and computer support and social visits, which will keep him busy for the next year. Thank you all. Gefeliciteerd, Mark.
Ghislaine Jonker.
10 years ago, Guylaine received her bachelor's degree from Webster and today her MBA. Guylaine says that this will be her final graduation from Webster University. She adds how humbling it is to know that there's still so much to learn and that most accomplishments are made with the support of others. Guylaine thanks Rob, her family and friends for their support and encouragement. Van harte, Guylaine.
Balázs Juhász.
Balázs has earned his MBA with an emphasis in management. Balázs shares that it is indeed ironic that you spend your school days yearning to graduate and that the remaining of your days you're waxing nostalgically about your school days. It is clear the future holds great opportunities. The trick will be to avoid the pitfalls, seize the opportunities, and get back home by 6 o'clock. Köszönöm, Shalat Balázs. Hermona Kadia.
Hermona is from Albania, and this MA in International Relations is her second degree from Webster University. Hermona was studying at another university when she walked through the doors of Webster. She sat in on a class where she was invited to join the discussions. When the class was over, most of the staff of Webster knew her name and from where she came. 2 months later, she joined Webster. Hermona most enjoyed the enriching experience of being part of the international student body and the student council, witnessing and feeling how cultures come together and melt into each other. Hermona thanks her loved ones in this room who have supported her through this journey. Su successa, Hermona.
Catherine Klein.
Catherine, a Maastricht MBA graduate, says her time at Webster has been a truly unique international experience, enhanced by instructors and fellow students sharing their personal and professional experiences. She considers herself fortunate to have made many good friends along the way. She hopes to take all that she has gained from her study at Webster and continue to build upon it. Catherine wants to thank all of those who were understanding and supportive during her studies. Congratulations, Catherine.
Erik Knoll.
Erik receives his MBA today, and he quotes from The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe. The answer to life, the universe, and everything is 42. You need to ask the right questions. For Erik, this MBA was not the goal, rather it was the journey. To do more in less time, to seek alternative ways to accomplish the goals, and to see different perspectives. Erik now wants to spend his time with his wife, his hobbies, but he adds that this is not the end of the journey. Van harte, Erik.
Dico Kuipers.
Dico graduates today with his MBA degree. Dico congratulates all fellow students for their own academic achievements. Dico extends thanks to Len Evan and the staff of Webster for building a progressive institution. Gefeliciteerd, Dico, and much success. Zander Lammers.
Zander, an MBA graduate, felt that by the end of the program he experienced a cohesive and pluriform approach of handling cases and courses. Looking back, he believes that the MBA program helped him to gain confidence in the business world and contributed to his professionalism and in managing issues. Gefeliciteerd, Zander.
Peter Maturik.
Peter, an MBA graduate, says that having the opportunity to do an MBA 10 years after his undergraduate degree has given him the insight into how academic theory and practical experience cross each other. Peter was able to gain new perspectives by putting theoretical knowledge into practice. Herzlichen Glückwunsch, Peter.
David McKay.
David is graduating with honors, with his MA in International Relations today. David is grateful to a lot of people, but he would like to extend a special thank you to Diederik Veraard, who rescued his final paper when his computer came down with a virus. If it weren't for Diederik, David might have been at home right now working on his footnotes. Congratulations, David.
Hubertus Muhlenberg.
Huub graduates with his MBA today. Huub would like to thank his fellow students and teachers for the memorable 2.5 years, especially the Maastricht bunch. It was inspiring, mentally stretching, and helpful to get things going in many ways. Proficiat, Huub. Suzanne Oge.
Suzanne is graduating with her MA in International Business. Suzanne extends a special thanks to Bernadette van Houten for her guidance on her thesis, and to Louis Bestin, her 5-year-old, who did his best to keep her from finishing it. Also to her husband, Stefan, thank you for your support. Susie promises to take this degree and get back to work soon. Congratulations, Suzanne. Yep.
Mary Owusu.
Mary, from Ghana, has earned her MBA degree. Mary states that vision is not only the ability of looking at an empty field and seeing the hidden treasure, but also seeing how to acquire this field and obtain the hidden treasure. Thus, Mary's degree from Webster is a hidden treasure acquired. Mary thanks all who helped her, especially her better half. Aiko O'o. At last, the battle has ended, and the victory is yours, Mary. Yeah?
Saskia Polman.
Saskia's MA in Management is her second from Webster University, and she claims that this will be her final academic study for a while. Saskia thanks her father for helping her receive this diploma, especially for his advice on her thesis. Saskia also studied in Geneva and Thailand, giving her a true international and multicultural educational experience. Saskia is now on the way up. Gefeliciteerd, Saskia.
Jurgen Riksen.
Jurgen completed his MBA degree. Jurgen says that 2.5 years of study has brought him knowledge and experience in business and has also taught him about differences in cultures, regions, and people. He valued the experience of the professors as well as his fellow students. Jurgen wishes all graduates the best in their careers and lives. Van harte, Jurgen. Matthew Reinhardt.
Matthew proudly crosses the stage for the second time in his many years. Matthew completed his MA in Management. For Matthew, his education has amounted to more than reaching this milestone of finishing his master's degree, but more importantly, feeling empowered with confidence to make a difference in this world. Good luck, Matthew, and congratulations.
Jesus Rubio.
Jesse, the first member of his family to attend college, is completing his 3rd degree today in the last 4.5 years. Today his MBA. His mother, brother, and sister-in-law have come from Los Angeles to celebrate this special occasion. Jesse would like to thank his family and friends for their support and inspiration he received to excel in his education and to take advantage of the opportunities that so many do not have. All of the best to you, Jesse, and congratulations.
Hanneke Sanders.
Hanneke receives her MBA degree today. Hanneke says that her degree has enriched her personal life and business career. Learning in small groups has given her a broader view that will help her in her future career. For Hanneke, her MBA also means independence, and she can mark her own future path. Gefeliciteerd, Hanneke.
Jos Schijns.
Education permanente, lifelong learning, a value Jos shares with Webster University. After a bachelor degree, a master degree, and a doctor of philosophy, this MBA degree is another step for Jos. Jos would like to thank his parents, his wife's parents, and particularly his wife and daughter who enabled him to do just that. Jos graduates with honors from Webster. Van harte, Jos. Philippe Schone.
Coming to us with his pharmacy degree, Philippe wanted to enhance his professional skills by doing an MBA. Philippe is grateful to his wife, Jenny, who encouraged and supported him to the end. Philippe would also like to acknowledge his boss at Merck, Sharp & Doma, who has sponsored his degree. Proficiat, Philippe.
Onno Schurer.
Ono completed his MA in finance. Ono says his degree has given him practical insights which he has already used in his work, but has also kept his gray cells working. Ono thanks his beautiful girlfriend Barbara, his parents Franz and Nelly, and Joka for their support and understanding. He would especially like to acknowledge his father for encouraging him by always keeping his thumbs up. Van harte, Ono.
Mehul Shah.
Mehul, from India, doesn't consider his MBA degree just as a stepping stone for his career development. Rather, his MBA has given him the greatest feeling of fulfillment and personal achievement. Mehul has made many new friends with whom he wishes to continue to network long into the future. Mubarak ho, Mehul.
Mirjam Smeets.
Miriam says that her MBA has strengthened her strategic thinking and encouraged her personal growth. The knowledge gained has certainly enlarged her scope of business economics in all aspects, which is an enhancement to her future growth. Gefeliciteerd, Miriam. Brigitte Spetgens.
Brigitte says that being an MBA student meant having a limited social life, but fun in class, meeting new people and making new friends. She adds that you probably heard the MBA also means married but alone. Brigitte would like to thank her partner, her family and friends for hanging in there. As of today, she's going to have a life again. Brigitte graduates with honors. Van harte, Brigitte.
Dick van der Ploeg.
Dick's MBA is his second master's degree. Living in Vlissingen, Dick traveled over 300 kilometers each week to come to Webster. Dick chose to do an MBA to increase his knowledge on financial matters. Fortunately, Webster also provided more humanistic type courses. According to Dick, a welcome change after 15 years in management. Without the continuous support and flexibility of his wife and kids, it would not have been possible for Dick to finish this personal journey. Gefeliciteerd, Dick.
Edward van der Poort.
Because of Edward's biomedical background, he took all 15 courses for his MBA. Edward feels that what he learned during his MBA will be very helpful in his future entrepreneurial career. Edward thanks his fellow students and his challenging and inspiring teachers for this enjoyable time at Webster. Proficiat, Edward.
David van der Voort.
David, who completed his MBA, also wrote a poem for today. You are told to pay attention and listen to what they say, but also listen to what they don't teach you, because that may lead to a better and new way. So listen to what they say and study what they don't tell. People don't teach beyond what they please. Pioneers and visionary know that very well. Keep asking questions and you will learn much faster. Stay honest to yourself and get beyond their limits. That is what makes you in reality a master. Gefeliciteerd, David. Sander van der Zon.
Sander is receiving his MBA degree today. Sander enjoyed the teamwork with his fellow students over these last 3 amazing years. Sander would like to thank his employer, AT&T, for sponsoring his degree, and his family and friends for making this all possible. Gefeliciteerd, Sander.
Martin van Dijk.
Martin's dream kicked off almost 3 years ago when he convinced his employer to support his MBA. Today is the accomplishment of that dream. Martin could not have done this without the support of his family, who filled the gaps he left behind. Martin also thanks his inspiring professors and his colleague students, with whom he hopes to know a very long time. Van harte, Martin.
Angeline van Dok.
Angeline is very proud to have achieved this long-wanted goal of her MBA. She adds that she surely did not do it on her own. Angeline sends her thanks to family, friends, and colleagues for their support, for their patience. Angeline says that she might even miss it now that she's done. However, for now, she is glad to be done. Van harte, Angeline.
Xavier van Vliet.
Xavier is graduating with his MBA. He says, at first, graduation seemed so far away, but the time has flown by. Yes, your graduation is a fact. Xavier thanks the university for keeping him challenged in an enriching educational experience. He sends his thank yous, accompanied by the promise of more available free time, to all his loved ones for their patience and support. Van harte, Xavier. Stefan van Diest.
Stefan, an MBA graduate, also remembers hearing that you must have a solid marriage to be successful in the program, and that it will be tough, but also a lot of fun. No words ring more true for Stefan. Stefan wants to thank all of his dear ones who have supported him, especially his family, Chantal, Devi, and Joas, who have supported him during the last 2.5 years. Goed gedaan, Stefan.
Zhaoning Wang.
Zhaoning, from China, receives his MA in International Relations. Zhaoning tells the story of his 7-year-old son, who watched as he studied every night for the last 3 years. One day his son asked, "Dad, are you a good student?" His father asked why he had asked this question, and his son responded, "Well, I am one of the best students in my class, and I finish my homework reading every day, but you keep reading the same book over and over." Jugu ni, Xiaoning.
Michael Weber.
Michael, from Germany, decided to broaden his knowledge on an international level by studying an MBA with us, a decision which has changed his life. In 1 year, Michael not only finished his MBA, but he also married the Dutch woman of his dreams. Now Michael is busy on a daily basis using his MBA skills to optimize the Dutch-German relationship. Herzlichen Glückwunsch, Michael.
Frank Vessels.
Before coming to Webster for his MBA, Frank attended various specific finance and economic courses in which all students were focused in the same direction. For Frank, the additional value of Webster's MBA program was the diversity of backgrounds of his fellow students. Studying together with them was a unique learning experience. Frank graduates today with honors. Gefeliciteerd, Frank. Marie-Thérèse Woltering.
Marie-Thérèse graduates with her MBA degree. Marie-Thérèse observed that most students she met were eager to learn and were generally interested in each other. This, together with the multicultural composition, makes Webster an unforgettable experience. Marie-Thérèse tells all graduates that you are fortunate to study and that you are to use what you have learned to make a difference somehow, somewhere. Van harte, Marie-Thérèse.
Sebastian Wouters.
For Bas, this MBA has provided him with a business toolkit for which he is better able to engineer his career. Bas proved to himself that he is an achiever and able to deal with challenging situations. Bas would like to thank his parents and his friends for their support and patience. Saying thank you to his girlfriend Kathy isn't enough. He has great respect for the way she has dealt with the years of study, especially since she is due to have a baby today. Gefeliciteerd, Bas. Gefeliciteerd.
Abby Janse Rupert.
Ebby has achieved her MA in Management degree today. Many will know Ebby as a Webster staff member who wears many hats. She is joined today with her friends and family. After these 2 years of hard work, she is looking forward to doing nothing on the weekends for a while. Congratulations, and gefeliciteerd, Abby. Another job well done.
Ramon Zanoni.
Ramon is graduating today with his MBA, with honors. Ramon feels that graduation is a time to reflect on the transition and transformation you are all making. This moment signifies the end of something and the beginning of something else. It is about how far you've come and what road you have yet to travel, what baggage you take with you on the next phase of your journey, and what you should leave behind. Thank you, Ramon, and hartelijk gefeliciteerd. Well said. Well said.
Clearly, this group will achieve greatness, and as alumni, continue to positively influence Webster worldwide. Will all the candidates for the master degrees please rise? By the power vested in me by the state of Missouri, USA, the Board of Directors, the administration and faculty of Webster University, I confer upon each of you the degree of Master of Arts or Master of Business Administration with all the rights and privileges of that degree. Please swing your tassel to the right. Congratulations. You may sit down. You know, on a special day like this, there's always one other group that deserves our honor and our attention: the professors of Webster. Would you please rise, professors of Webster University, for all of your dedication to teaching, your caring, our appreciation. You may sit down. But within that group, there are two persons who are celebrating 20 years of teaching success with Webster University in the Netherlands. Audrey Kraft is not able to be here today due to an illness in the family. But I'd like to ask Roel Struker to come up and accept the award of recognition for 20 years of service. I'd like to now ask the president of your Alumni Association, Remco Braun, to come up and say a few words on behalf of the Netherlands Alumni Association.
You look very happy right now, and you should be. You made it. You received a degree from Webster University, and now you belong to the top educational ranks in the world. It's an honor for me to be one of the first to congratulate you on a job well done. I've been in that spot myself, on the same podium, on those same uncomfortable chairs. I was happy, relieved, and I must admit, I was proud of myself. And you should be very proud of yourself right now, and be happy and relieved. After all, you finished one of the major accomplishments in your life. But no matter how glad you are, you won't have to go to class next week. You won't have to do a team meeting or make a class presentation. I guarantee you right now that you're going to start to miss this. I know you might not feel or know it right now, but you're going to miss the hard work, the feeling of accomplishment, and especially the friendship. And that's where I come in with my Alumni Association. Or would I say, your Alumni Association now. Today, you're graduating from a school that has, I'm proud to say, one of the most active alumni associations in the Netherlands. The Webster Alumni Association strives to be a significant added value to your Webster education. We do more than just connect you to a network of 20 years worth of Webster graduates. So I want to give you an idea of what we're currently doing with the Alumni Association and what the plans are for the near future. First of all, we publish a quarterly journal to keep you updated about what's going on in the alumni community. Furthermore, we organize at least 2 networking events each year with high-profile speakers to discuss current issues and let you network with other alumni. We are currently in the process of setting up interest groups with the same specific interests like business ownership, current management issues, or women in business. To add to all this, we are setting up an online alumni directory which will allow you to contact any alumni that graduated in the last 20 years. Last but not least, together with Webster, we offer you a unique opportunity to join in the Lifelong Learning Program, which allows each alumni to audit one course a year for free. All this will broaden your network, let you stay up to date on current issues, and permit you to keep in touch with old friends and meet new friends. I understand completely if you don't want to think about all that right now. You want to celebrate your success with your family and friends, and you've been sitting on that spot for way too long. And who can blame you? Just know the Alumni Association is there for you to support you as a Webster alumni, and I trust we can count on receiving your support in return. On behalf of all Webster alumni who have sat in those seats before you, I would like to congratulate you with your accomplishments and a job well done, and I'd like to welcome you to the Alumni Association. Thank you.
Well, I encourage all of you graduates, as automatic members of the Alumni Association, to commit to this process of lifelong learning and a lifelong association with Webster. We'll now hear the response on behalf of the graduating class of 2004. First, we will hear from Binish Razi, representing the undergraduates, and immediately thereafter from Elsha de Vries.
Webster faculty, staff, family, friends, and graduates. We all had expectations when we came to Webster. Chilled classes, reasonable professors, the bars, the parties. Oh yeah, eventually getting a degree. I guess that expectation is now over. Welcome to our graduation. Surreal, isn't it, how time flies by and how people change. I remember orientation, seeing some of you with me, and having the grand tour of Cozy Leiden, and many students who came and went. My main reason for choosing a university in the Netherlands was, frankly, laziness. I had finished my A-levels in the British school here, and England was not where I wanted to go. So the next thing was to look for international campuses in Holland. Holland actually grows on you eventually. So Webster was mentioned, and many of us came here looking for a broader scope and interaction. And we got that. Webster's reputation of having a well-experienced faculty, where the professors love to teach, as quoted by Professor Bootland, he's sitting somewhere over there, and a big blend of nationalities and cultures allowed the classes to be ever more interesting. We thank you, Webster faculty, for making us get here, making us reach where we are today. We are more aware of different fields of study, and this gives us a broader approach to education rather than having a keyhole approach. We're leaving one phase of our lives to enter another, each of us going our separate ways. This seems scary, not knowing what lies ahead. What is next? Year off? Post-grad studies? Enter the working world? Actually work? It is going to be a challenge, and I hope that all of us will take it up with stride and courage, one day at a time. Let us all seize the moment, as each day is important for so many reasons. The dreams it inspires, the promise it holds, and new dreams to believe in, as each day brings new opportunities. This world is full of opportunities that have to be explored. Thune Mars gives good advice on this moment. He says that the only true learning is practical experience, and therefore, everything we must do must be in the context of the present moment. The past 3 years have been very enjoyable and memorable, and I know many of you can say the same. We're leaving, and we're going our separate ways, but we have good memories to take along. We have worked hard, and our families should be very proud of our achievements, because we are a generation with a positive attitude and with the inspiration needed to learn. I would like to congratulate my peers. I wish you all the best of luck and success and happiness for your future endeavors. Take on the world with a broader perspective and use the great interpersonal skills we all share. Enjoy the rest of the ceremony. Thank you.
The last time I spoke in church was about 20 years ago for my first communion. This is a new milestone for me. Webster faculty, graduates, family and friends, ladies and gentlemen. In a quest for true success, one might stand still for a moment and wonder what success really means. To one person, it may mean power and money. To another, it may mean happiness in life. Some would call success a well-taken human risk, while others might call it a restriction of personal freedom. Unilever's Cuppa Soup has called success a choice. And maybe because of the varying meaning of the word, this advertisement campaign for instant soup has come closest to a good definition. In my opinion, success is determined by one's own ambitions, as the establishment of it remains in the eye of the beholder. This is what I call true success, but success does not happen on its own. After finishing my master's degree in work and organizational psychology, I decided to pursue my career at Webster in Leiden, and the choice for this university was easily made. A beautiful location in the heart of Holland's oldest student cities, an institution which provides professional education and flexibility in the pace of studying, a place where our professors love to teach, an international environment which harbors people from different backgrounds, professions, nationalities, a university which offers also the possibility to study in different locations around the world. In the course of my career at Webster University, as a graduate student full-time, I have also gotten to know Webster as a university that fosters enthusiasm, motivation, and aspiration, and can provide a solid basis for personal development as well. Having pursued a degree may have varying reasons for all the students graduating today, but one thing that all of us probably have in common is the pursuit of getting ahead in personal development, in knowledge, in experience, and in career. Thus, we might say that what we have in common is a joint quest for success. Webster University has taught me in my own quest that it can provide useful tools for those who know how to use it. I have grown to realize in my career at Webster that solely pursuing a degree is not what makes true success, even though it may be what drives it. It remains completely up to the choices of the individual, how the tools are used to their maximum potential and in the further course of life. It lies in your attitude, in your dynamics, and in your perseverance that drives you towards self-fulfillment. The Webster experience is complete in providing that basis for those who search for true success. It is complete in providing the means for those who find it, and the results can be just as complete for those who make it. Yet, it remains a personal choice of commitment and intensity. The road continues. I owe my gratitude to those who have supported me along the way. I want to congratulate all you graduate students with your achievement today, and I wish you all the best of luck in your own quest. Thank you. I would now like to ask all the students to please rise. On the count of 3, we will all take our hats and throw them into the air. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3.
Thank you. Thank you, Binish and Elsha. Your words reflect a passion for life and learning which I know most Webster students and alumni share. To the class of 2004, congratulations to you all. Our faculty and staff will miss you. Well, at least most of you. I hope you keep on combining learning and doing. I also hope you dare to be interesting and innovative. Stand out from others and don't avoid reasonable risk. As one of our previous speakers has said in this church, remember the power of passion, preparation, and perseverance. These are the keys to success and happiness in life. We now bring to a close Webster's 20th anniversary year and 20th annual graduation ceremony in the Netherlands. I know I speak on behalf of the Webster staff, faculty, advisory board, and fellow students when I say, make us proud, have a terrific future, thank you, and have a terrific evening.